Lighting okay? Is this light bothersome for anybody? All right, cool. And then by all means, if anybody does want to scoot closer, feel free to do so. We have a little bit of space still here by this wall. Otherwise, if you feel good where you are, relax, enjoy, listen. So good morning, everyone. Most of you know me. My name is Nav, yoga and meditation teacher. But today's something I've been planning for a while. It's been something that's been on my mind. When I first started teaching yoga, mm, and I'm going to use these terms quite interchangeably, yoga and meditation. Um, when I first started practicing yoga, when it came to the teaching part of it, and I started to become a teacher, I didn't just want to get locked up in a studio just teaching postures after postures after postures. What I wanted to do was to share the deeper practice of the benefits that a meditation practice can bring and a yoga practice can reveal. Um, in terms of meditation, I've probably been meditating for about 4 or 5 years. Um, and even me being a little teacher and whatnot, I haven't been consistent the whole time around. So I'm not going to try to put myself on a pedestal. It's a very challenging practice for a lot of people. If some of you that have taken my classes, you'll be hearing stories that I've said before. There was a survey done in the UK where they surveyed about 1,000 people, asked them would they rather spend 15 minutes in a room by themselves with their thoughts or receive an electric shock. Two-thirds of the people said that they would rather receive an electric shock. I think it just goes to show to some degree that we are very uncomfortable with the thoughts that are within our mind. Um, and it's maybe partly to do with ourselves, that we're not fully comfortable in our own skin or fully comfortable with the things that we think, but also it might have to do with a part of society and some of the expectations that people set for us, and we're clouded from the get-go. So today, my hope is to kind of expand your horizon on what a meditation practice can look like for you, how you can practice meditation in a way that best serves you, and why you should meditate. Now, your reason for beginning this journey of meditation is unimportant. What I think is more important is that we begin it with an open mind. So there's a Japanese term known as shoshin. It's labeled beginner's mind. And it refers to this paradox that as we start to get older and we start to become wiser, we end up closing the doors for other things. So we have our prejudgments, we have our expectations. So when somebody says something like meditation, typically people just think cross-legged, closed eyes, and this person is not thinking anything. And that's just what you see from the outside in. But you don't know if I'm just thinking about pizza, if I'm just planning a trip to Hawaii. You don't know what's happening inside. So as much as there's a dimension to the practice that is from the outside looking in, the real practice of meditation is us to connect to the world from the inside out. So there's a really beautiful quote that I had written down somewhere here. Yeah, cool. The miracle of life is not to walk on water. The miracle of life is to walk on this earth with awareness. So one of the things that this meditation practice will allow us to do is to see life a bit more clearly. One of the common analogies that gets used, or visualizations that gets used in the meditation setting, is that we view the world through a cloudy mirror, a dirty mirror, a mirror that you can't reflect fully back at you. And so what we do with the practice of meditation is bit by bit, we polish that mirror, we clean that mirror to the point where what we see in the mirror is exactly who we are. If you've ever been to like one of those weird fun houses where you walk through and the mirrors are all distorted, you walk by and, one moment your head is like this big, next moment you walk by, you somehow are that wide. And what we end up believing of ourselves is that we are somehow that big-headed person. But then when we step out and we see a regular mirror, no, we're just who we are. We have that regular size head, that regular size body. But there's a part of you, especially if you see like children that, get shocked, a part of you may believe that as you walk through that fun house, that when you see your big head or wide body in that mirror, that that is you. And if we take that step back, think about all the thoughts that go on through your head. Some thoughts, you can dismiss as being just a thought. You don't have to worry about it. It's not that serious. But then you might have other thoughts, thoughts that do stick in your mind a bit more, thoughts that do, hold on to you, thoughts that do weigh you down. So, in that essence, our meditation practice is something that allows us to, you know, see these thoughts a bit more clearly, to understand where they come from. They might come from a good place, but they don't always mean the best for us. And then what is it that we can learn from these thoughts so that we can move forward, maybe without the weight of the thought? So today, I'm going to try to introduce how meditation is a tool. It's a tool that can help us build concentration. It's a therapeutic tool for us to connect a bit deeper with our spirit. And it's a tool to help us release emotional, mental, and physical baggage. Some of you know, over the last 2 years, I've done two 10-day silent meditation retreats. So if you're unaware, for a period of 10 days, you give up your phone, which is already like the hardest part for most people's journey. You give up your phone for 10 days, and then you take a vow to not speak, to not read, to write, to not listen to music, nor to exercise for 10 days. Wake up every morning at about 4 a.m., go to sleep every evening around 9 p.m. And throughout that schedule over the 10 days, you spend about 10 hours a day meditating. Now, just in relation to this being a tool to release emotional, mental, and physical baggage, the first time I did this retreat, I lost about 7 pounds over the 10 days. And internally, I understand that a lot of that weight came from just the change in diet and from the prolonged fasting. You're fasting for about 15 to 20 hours a day, and you're not doing a whole lot of exercise. But I kid you not when I say that the way that I felt after was that the weight didn't come off my body, but it came off my mind. And it's like the kind of weight where you know you're going to be able to keep most of that weight off. And I can maybe attribute, say, out of those 7 pounds, maybe a couple of those pounds were from me letting go of certain and particular things. Something might have said to me in the past, something I've been holding on to, some sense of anger, grief, shame, resentment. But a lot of the weight that came off of my mind was things you don't even know that you're holding on to. It's a lot of unconscious baggage that we've just built from childhood through adolescence into adulthood. And it's just the way that we are without even knowing that's the way that we are. So in that sense, I want to try to show today that meditation can be used as a tool for you to work with some of your inner baggage, to lighten your weights that you might be carrying on a day-to-day basis. On another hand, meditation is a practice. So in most of the places where I teach, unfortunately, I just teach meditation once a week. And if you were to go to, say, a personal trainer for your physical body, you probably wouldn't just go once a week unless that's all you'd be able to handle. Because your benefit of practicing just once a week might not be able to sustain itself for the following 6 days until you then practice again. So in that sense, today I want to also show as a practice, how is it that you can develop a meditation practice? I'm not telling you to sit for 10 hours a day. I'm not telling you that you have to meditate for hours and hours. I want to try to show the power of just taking 5 to 10 minutes. For a lot of us, that's a great place to start. And it's something that is quite accessible and achievable. Even when you start to think about 15, 20, 25 minutes a day, you just might not have the time in your busy life. So you have to be able to build a meditation practice that is sustainable for your effort level and that is achievable with all your other responsibilities. I'll try to explain, good times of days to practice, where in your house you may choose to practice, and how you can physically work with the practice. But the hope is that you yourself are able to build the discipline to practice. I can share all the benefits and I can try to present myself as being, enlightened, but I'm not. But at the end of the day, you have to walk your own path. I can light up the path for you and show you that yes, there is that tip of the mountain that you can get to, but I can't take the steps for you. My hope is here today that I'm able to present meditation in a light that helps you reduce your stigma around it. Not stigma in a bad way, but there's just a lot of unknown about the meditation practice. And in doing so, maybe make the practice of meditation a bit more interesting for your needs. And then it's in the last part of that is that I want to show meditation as an experience. And this is where the experience is going to be different for each and every one of you. I try to use a lot of different scenarios and visualizations to try to help you understand what meditation can feel like, what it can look like, what it can taste like. But at the end of the day, you all are working with your own little Pandora's boxes. So your meditation may unfold different things. Sorry, I'm gonna end up be looking at I took a lot of notes for this, so great. So in terms of the experience, I mentioned earlier, it's like cleaning a mirror. If we come to sit and we've had a really busy day, maybe on that particular day, your mirror is quite foggy, it's quite dirty, it's very dusty. So you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning it. Another thing that you can kind of visualize is a cloudy sky. Behind the darkest of clouds, there is still the brightest of suns. But some days you may come to sit to meditate, and all you feel is overcast, downpour of rain, very dark clouds. But that shouldn't make you think that still behind that dark cloud, there is no sun. Our essence, our being, the core of ourselves is a bright, beautiful sun. Think of the sun as being warm, loving, caring, it supports life. And so those are qualities that we can always tap into within ourselves. No doubt for some of us, men, um, tapping into qualities of compassion, of love is sometimes a bit of a tricky thing to do just because society has kind of warped it in a way where men shouldn't express feelings or this, that, and the other. Just from my personal experience, I've just found that more women are attuned with emotions. So I'm jealous of that. But hey, that's me being attuned to the emotion of jealousy. Um, so for you, as that experience of connecting to yourself, of seeing that radiant sun, let that be something that you can always come back to. So it doesn't matter how dark your clouds are. And the reality is for some of us, these dark clouds may last a period of time. It's not just that the moment you sit to meditate, the cloud's gonna fizzle away and the sun comes up. Some days you have to be okay with the clouds. You have to be okay with going through a low, with the what it's known as is the vicissitudes of life. It's the waves of life. There's highs and lows. And some days the lows will be low. Some days the highs will be high. But one of the things that the Buddha taught was something, it's one of the essence of his teachings, it's impermanence. Doesn't matter how intense something is, how good or bad something is, these things don't last forever. Those of you that attend some of my yoga classes, when we hold our deep stretches, you know what's going on in your mind. You hear those thoughts of wanting to come out, of wanting to distract yourself, of wanting to find another outlet so that you don't feel what you're feeling fully. And I think what meditation, if we practice it with a sense of honesty, allows us to do is to see ourselves more clearly, more honestly, and more truthfully. And I think the old adage of like that, all change comes from within. We want to change other people, but a lot of times we have to begin with ourselves before we change anything from the outside world. So meditation becomes that tool, it becomes that practice of helping you change the smaller things within. And then even then, when it comes to meditation, maybe some common things that people deal with like anger, anxiety, stress. Once you start developing the practice of meditation, you might still get angry, you might still feel stress, you might still get anxious. It's not like a one shot cure. But what should hopefully change is your perspective around certain things that do surface predominantly in your life. So if you are the type of person that gets very angry, and if you're starting to develop a meditation practice and you practice with a sense of honesty, with a sense of integrity, with a sense of truthfulness, then when you get angry the following time around, or you get upset, anxious, stressed, maybe in the world prior to meditation, you stayed angry, anxious, stressed for a full 24 hours. You start to build that meditation practice. You start to see things a bit more clearly. You start to see the root cause of what's happening that sparks your anger, sparks the emotion. So 24 hours, maybe it goes down to 20 hours. Practice more, you create a bit more space. 20 hours goes down to 12, 12 to 8. And that might take time. It might take weeks, months, years to get to the point where you're able to see anger come up, notice it, not get attached to it. And attachment's a big thing that we deal with in the meditation practice. Somebody hurts you, and some of you have heard me say this before. Maybe you can all recall a moment in your life where over the span of maybe 5 or 10 seconds, somebody said something to you that then impacted the next 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks of your life. 10-second experience, 10-second exchange of energy. Person says something upsetting to you, then they go on with their day as if nothing happened, in through the ear, out through the other ear for them. But for you, you've been hurt. And we're not here to deny these hurts that have happened to us, but it's also to understand that we do not have to hold ourselves prisoner to these kind of experiences. So with the practice of meditation, we're able to, once again, feel the emotion of being hurt, being upset, being angry, but not become a victim to it, to not be held prisoner by it. And in doing so, we're able to then let things go, create the space. And by creating space, we're able to bring in, hopefully, that sense of the radiant sun back into our life. Because compassion and love are one of the first things that disappear when we start to become a bit more self-centered, when we start to take things more personally, when we start to live a life that is not mindful. Everything becomes about me, my, I. And what meditation goes to show you is that it's a wise, selfish action. So yes, you're meditating for yourself when you sit, but you're not just doing it for yourself. One of the things that I say in my yoga practice is take the positive energy that you've created here by breathing and moving, take it with you into the rest of your day and the rest of your week, and be able to offer it to whomever you meet. Because I see it so often. People finish a yoga class, a meditation practice, and for the hour that they spend with me, they're very kind to themselves, very compassionate. They listen to themselves, they honor their bodies, they work with their minds. And then the moment that final bell rings and we say goodbye, they're back on their phone. They're back on their phone and they just direct all that energy that could have been directed outwards into something that is just a sink for energy. So in that sense, when we practice meditation, It's to be able to better connect to everybody around us. So when you meditate, yes, the meditation is for you to build up these wholesome qualities of peace, kindness, compassion, love. But the hope is that you're not just doing nothing with them, but that you're able to then share those qualities with other people that you meet. And it doesn't mean that you have to go out and like, I love you, and just give everybody a hug, right? But maybe it's that instead of talking in a certain exchange, you spend a bit more time listening. Maybe it's instead of waiting for a conversation to be over, you just allow the conversation to unfold. Maybe it's instead of averting eye contact with someone, you're able to make a bit more eye contact with them. These like very small interactions of building a connection with another human, I think are very invaluable. At the end of the day, we are social creatures, we are mammals. We grew up in communities, small communities, but unfortunately, the way social media has been constructed, and it's to the benefit of for some things, we are the most connected that we've ever been in the entire humanity or in our entire history. But at the same time, the paradox is that we are the most disconnected from the person right next to us. We're the most connected worldwide while still at the same time being very disconnected to our neighbor. So, in terms of the meditation practice, we build some of these qualities to spark that sense of connection, that sense of awareness that lets you realize that it's not just about me and I, but there's a sense of you and we and us. So, in terms of the structure for today's retreat this morning, we'll be doing a seated meditation to begin. And the reason why I encourage seated meditation, and if we need the walls, please use the walls, is that when we lie down, and I've seen it plenty of times, the body is so conditioned that lying down is associated with. So what starts as a meditation then becomes a napitation. Then the napitation starts to become like a snoritation. And then I gotta nudge people, and I feel bad because then you get startled out of a dream. So we try our best to build the discipline of a seat. Now, us here in the Western world, this is already a challenge for us to sit on the ground, cross-legged, extended-legged, whatever it is. As children, we had no problem getting close to the ground. As we get older, we get further and further away from the ground. And then the sad reality sometimes is the only time you make contact with the ground in later life is if you have a fall and hit the ground. So we're just trying to ground a little bit closer to earth. But if you need a chair, if you need to adjust yourself, please let me know. I can accommodate. We do still have two cushions if you wish to elevate your hips. Blocks are also available. Some people that have really tight hips might wish for blocks underneath their knees. So in terms of the seated practice, that is why we start with a seat. And like I said, some of you will have one or both legs extended out long. Some of you will have no problem crossing your legs. It's all about allowing yourself to find comfort. I'm not of the belief that you have to be very rigid. Of some people think you need to have like the full lotus position with your legs and have a mudra with your hands and do all this that. If you believe in it, cool. Like, it's that's great. You put your power into your belief. So if that's what you believe, great. But to make or make meditation just simple and accessible, the building blocks of the practice are sitting and breathing. So if you ever get lost in the practice, just remember those two things. I am sitting, I am breathing. So our first practice here will be our seated meditation. I will be guiding you through the seated meditation. We will be doing so for about 20-ish minutes. I'll just bring in a little bit of an understanding of the physical side of things so that when you sit, you can hopefully find the most amount of comfort. Like I said, lower body is what I started with. Some of you will have your legs crossed, as I have. Some of you may cross in other ways. Some of you may have one leg or both legs extended. That's cool. Hands can be on your legs, in your lap, wherever they feel most comfortable. The main thing I typically stress is that we can sit upright. So whether your back is up against the wall or not, we avoid slouching with the posture. Body language carries energy with it as well. So we want to sit with a little bit of confidence in the body. Imagine like a straight line of energy from the base of your hip up your spine towards the back of your neck and all the way to the crown of your head. Like somebody were to be picking you up by the top of your head, and that brings in a little bit of lightness. To feel the sense of relaxation, we might sometimes need to tense the body up with some purpose. So some of us might shrug the shoulders up a few times and allow them to soften down. Just noticing if you can feel the difference between engaging and tensing, relaxing and softening. Same thing can be done with the hands. You might tense up your fists, squeeze your hands, feel the tension in your arms, and then relax and soften down. You might engage your glutes, squeeze your thighs, anything to help you understand what it feels like when your body begins to relax. It's your choice whether you remove your glasses or whether you keep them on. It is up to you whether you open your eyes or keep them soft or work to have them closed. My preference is usually to have closed eyes. Just gives your eyes less of a reason to look around. And just before we do begin, I'm just going to turn off these lights for this. You want to turn off that light? There's a switch right behind you. It's up to you. Yeah, cool. So let us begin what might be your very first meditation ever. Let's start by finding this comfortable shape within our body, not rushing to find it, taking a few moments here, feeling the connection of your lower body against the ground. Feel your hips, your legs, your ankles, your feet. And if you have to make an adjustment at any point, now or later, feel free to do so. You're not here to torture yourself, remember that. But being in this physical shape may bring out some discomfort. So if you're able to work with the discomfort, try to work with it. But if at any point it becomes a bit too challenging, then adjust, adapt. You might be feeling the weight of your arms or your hands on your legs. Creating a little bit more length within the spine as we look to sit upright. This posture of yours, it is strong, it is confident. There is a sense of determination here. Now, a part of this physical practice asks us to work with stillness. But for some of us, finding that sense of stillness is a challenge within itself. So maybe before you become fully still, you just work to slow things down a little bit more. Slowing down the movement on your physical body, slowing down the speed of thought within your mind. As you bring a little bit of intention to slow down your breath. Now, the purpose of our seated meditation is not to stop our thinking, but it's to observe all the thoughts that do come up within the mind. And if you don't practice meditation often, then it might feel like your mind's thinking more than it should be right now. Whether you're thinking a few thoughts or a lot of thoughts, try not to panic. Try not to get a bit disappointed or angry that you are thinking. That is the mind's job. That is what it will do. What we can do is redirect our energy. So to do that, let's begin to bring our awareness, our attention towards our breath. Now, there's two common areas where you can center the sense of awareness. Some of you will be able to feel your breath at the tip of your nose, noticing the breath as it passes in and out through your nostrils. Take a moment, notice if you can feel the rhythm of your breath there. Doesn't matter if your breath is short, if it is long, if it is deep, if it is shallow. Just notice the rhythm of your natural breath. And if you're having some difficulty connecting to the breath up here, then you can shift your attention down towards your belly, where you might feel the breath as it expands and contracts within your belly. So let's give ourselves a minute or so here, whether it's towards the tip of your nose or down towards your belly, noticing where it is that you do feel your breath most vividly. As you breathe in, know that you are breathing in. Feel the breath enter your body. As you breathe out, know that you are breathing out. Feel your breath exit your body. Now, it's very natural that as we try to focus on the breath, that we wander away into a thought. We try to let one thought go and then we jump onto another. To remain anchored onto the breath, we can start to engage our senses a bit more. So as you continue to breathe, can you listen to the rhythm, the sound of each inhale and exhale? Tuning your ears to the most subtlest of sounds with your breath. Can you feel the air on your skin as it passes in and out through your nostrils? Can you experience the gentle expansion and contraction within your chest and belly? And can you even visualize each breath as it flows in and out of your lungs? One of the most important skills that we are developing from a seated meditation practice is our ability to concentrate, to be able to focus fully on our inner self without becoming distracted by thoughts, emotions, or sensations. And any time that it is that we become distracted, we accept that we've become distracted, we acknowledge the distraction, we try to let it go, and then we come back to our breath as if nothing ever happened. For the next few minutes, we will remain to work with silence, developing our concentration, bringing our full awareness to the sensation of breath, finding a sense of enjoyment with your breath. Continue to breathe. beginning to reconnect to your body. Maybe inviting some gentle movements into your fingertips, your toes, rolling out your shoulders, maybe rolling out your wrists and ankles. We'll take a moment just to bring our hands to our heart as we rub our palms together to create the heat within our hands, allowing for that heat to wash over your face as you take your time to gently reopen your eyes. For some of you, that may have felt like 2 hours, but that was just 20 minutes. We'll be taking about a 10-minute break. Just allow you to stretch your legs out. If you need to use the washroom, by all means do so. And then we'll bring in a moving meditation, a walking meditation, just to continue the flow of the practice, this retreat here this morning. During the intermission, if you do have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to come up. Otherwise, next 10 minutes, just allow yourself to shake your legs out, to do whatever you need to do. Feel free to talk. No, we'll probably clear up some of the space. If some people want to walk outside, they can. They wish to get a little bit more movement, but we'll end up using all the space here to take advantage of the walking. So, when you're walking around and just living your life, do you have to think about breathing? Right? So, it's a good question. If you're getting really caught up in a thought, then it's about redirecting the mind to come back to the breath. But once you start breathing, I don't have to tell my body to breathe in to then breathe in, right? Just almost you can visualize like taking a step back and watching yourself breathe. So as you're inhaling, you're just watching the breath come in through the nose. And as you exhale, you just watch your breath come out and feel the breath come out of your nose. So it's not entirely about telling yourself to do it, but about watching yourself doing it already. Does that make sense? Does that sort of help? Any other question about that? So if you have if you're not that cloudy in your mind, then it's just about, like I said, the basic building block of what we're doing is sitting and breathing. So if you feel that you're not doing one of those two things, then it's about coming back to feel your body sitting and come back to feel yourself breathing. But it's about giving more and more attention. So some people, if they can't feel their breath, they might be breathing very deeply, right? Like, and then it's about being able to go from that, a lot of energy, a lot of force, to still breathing, but can you sharpen like your mind to feel that like the subtlest of breath as you breathe? It's like a little bit of a game to see like how quiet your breath can go while still keeping the mind sharp, and you know how many cycles of breath can you stay with your breath for. Some people, it's maybe they breathe 3 4 times and then a thought comes up and then they're gone. So I never, I'll talk a little bit about this, but that's a good question. Did that help? Yeah, awesome. Cool. Alrighty, we'll get started again. Take your time getting seated. So we finished a 20-minute meditation, and like I said, for some of us, it may have felt like 2 hours. Mm. Challenges aren't just coming from your mind, they're also coming from the body, from the surroundings, from just the experience itself. So we will be doing a seated meditation again towards the end of the day. When that time comes, maybe you ask yourself, and it might be a hard question to answer immediately, but just from the outside looking in, some of us were very fidgety. It's just normal. It's normal. I don't want to judge anything based on that. We carry a lot of tension within the body. Physical tension for a lot of us gets stored and accumulated within the hips and the lower body. So it's very natural that we have to adjust the lower body. But before you do so in the practices that we do later on, any fidgeting, any movement that you need, see if you can just sit with that sensation for a couple of breaths. It's sometimes that the mind wants to move faster and just get get it over with. If there's an itch, you just want to get it over with and get that itch scratched. But even something like an itch, it is impermanent. One of the things that we were tasked with doing during my silent meditation retreat, after about the fourth day, I believe it was the fourth day, we were asked when we were sitting to sit without opening our legs, opening our hands, or opening our eyes. Sit still for an hour, no movement of the physical body. And I'm telling you, it can be done. It's not an easy thing to do, no doubt, but it really paints the picture of anything that surfaces on your body, like a physical sensation, will come and it will go. Some things you'll notice as they come and go, some things you won't. Because there's been times where there's probably an itch that's come on your body, and maybe it's just one of those hard to reach places that you can't itch. But then after like a minute or so, it's gone. Like, where did it go? You don't know. But where did it come from? You also don't know. If you think about when you go to sleep, how you started the night when you lay in bed and you closed your eyes might not be how you woke up. Maybe you start on your back and you wake up on your stomach, or you start on your left side, you wake up on your right side. Like, what's going on? A lot of it's just your mind doing a lot of movement while you're sleeping. If you were to sleep at night and a mosquito were to start to suck your blood, you might not wake up, but there's a signal from the mind to the nerve receptors in the body that there's something here, and you might just swat something away. You're still deep asleep, but your body is doing things under the layer of your conscious awareness. And so for a lot of us, we are unconsciously just reacting to sensations like itches, like fidgets, like aches and pains. And it's just a means of, trying to lessen the intensity of what you're feeling, to lessen the pain. And I'm not trying to say that it's wrong. I just want you to be aware that if you're itching, are you the one in control of being the one like being the itcher, or is just you're just doing it out of an impulse? A lot of times it's the impulse that overpowers us in the moment. So as you continue to progress in this meditation practice, these are the small things to notice. You might, drift into a thought of what you were doing yesterday. Maybe yesterday was a really good day for you, and during your meditation, a thought comes up of something that occurred yesterday. Maybe it was a good conversation, might have been a good meal, could be anything. Could also be like a negative thing. And for a moment, you were here, you were breathing, you were fully present, and then the next moment, you've somehow drifted into yesterday. These things happen, and then you got to bring yourself back. And then you stay with your breath, you're breathing, and then you start to plan the rest of your day. Oh yeah, it's Sunday. I got work on Monday. Got to make dinner. Got to maybe get some groceries. Got to clean the house. Got to do all these things. And I'm not saying that these thoughts aren't important, but the reality is that these thoughts will probably also still be here in your mind once the practice is done. So it's about being able to build that discipline There's a very strong discipline that's required for you to give more importance to your breathing than you do to what your mind may be thinking and what your body may be feeling. And then once again, in that same fold, it's not about ignoring your body or like ignoring your mind. We have to learn to be, build a better relationship with them, to like live better with these two things, because you only have one body, you only have one mind, and you're stuck with it. And a lot of us, we have challenging relationships with these two parts of ourselves. Maybe we've had an injury somewhere in the physical body, and that body just doesn't move how it used to move. Maybe we're going through a very stressful time in our life. Maybe we've lost a job. We're going through a big period of change. So, a lot of the thoughts that surface within your mind are also very difficult and challenging to work with. But that is where, like, meditation as a practice can become the most valuable of a practice. I'll just share a very personal story for me, and it's kind of like the story that got me on the path to teaching meditation and yoga. It's kind of the incident within my life that made me believe that there was something to meditation. Some of you have probably heard of it, but my closest work friend and colleague, I was working for Rexall Pharmacy. I was a corporate accountant. For some of you that don't know, I was a corporate accountant before I did this whole endeavor to start teaching yoga and meditation. My closest work friend and colleague is 44, so not old, had two kids, like 11 and 13 or 11 and 12. Had just gotten a dog during the pandemic, did martial arts, like he was a healthy guy, passed away from an aneurysm, just like that, boom. And in my heart, I knew workplace stress directly contributed to him passing. Now, in the year prior to his passing, I'd started to pick up meditation. And I'd started picking up meditation just from using an app. I started with Headspace. Some of you may have used it, some of you may not. And I was referred to Headspace from one of my friends who's an MMA fighter who goes, Nav, I meditate to work with my anger. In my head, I'm just like looking at him, trying to compute what he's telling to me. But you're a fighter trying to work with anger and you're meditating? Like, what is, like, not trying to, like, I don't see the dots being connected. I was very ignorant. And I just didn't know. But he's like, yeah, I use this app, Headspace, like, try it out. So I tried it out. And like on a more personal note, like my entry point into meditation, into becoming more conscious and becoming more aware, came from like what would be more paying homage to like the 60s and the 70s from psychedelics. So that's just me personally. I'm not telling you that's what you have to do, but there was an experience during my very first meditation, which was only a 3-minute meditation. When you open up Headspace and you turn on the very first introduction meditation, it's like 3 minutes or 5 minutes. And there was something within that, and it was probably only a 10-second window of time where like the light bulb turned on of like what meditation was. And to me, it echoed an experience that I had on psychedelics where I was just very clear minded, open hearted, very present and grounded. And so I said, oh, okay, there's something here in this meditation practice that I've been looking for and feeling from external sources. But I didn't do anything. I just was sitting and breathing. And here I am feeling something that I've felt before under the influence of something. So I practiced my best for a year, not knowing if I was practicing right or wrong. Just followed the instructions that are being given, being told to follow my breath. And then as I'm breathing, I'm thinking half the time, I'm fidgeting still, doing all the things that I'm like, I don't think I'm doing this properly. And some of you know I'm an only child. So I'm like, people think I'm an extrovert and I'm very outgoing and personable, but reality is I'm quite internal. I have imaginary brothers and sisters in my head, but I don't have any brothers or sisters. So I never had that means of being able to share my outlet with other people or look for guidance from someone else. So I've always had to do that more myself. So I was meditating for a year, probably about 2 years, and uh, when he passed away, I was able to not repress any of the things that I was feeling, which is a very difficult thing for me to do. I repress a lot, I suppress a lot, and I just bottle. I think it's a just a defense mechanism that some people use and some people have. And I remember the day that he passed, I drove down, or didn't drive. I biked down towards Lakeshore, and I just sat by the water and I just watched the waves. And there's like a very beautiful quote that I'm gonna butcher, so I'm gonna just try to paraphrase, but it's like it just has to do with the fact that we are all nothing but a wave on the surface of the ocean. We rise, and we might be a big wave, we might be a strong wave, and we rise for a really long time, but then we all fade away and we go back into the ocean. The ocean is like the universal consciousness, it's the thing that connects us. It is what is always there. But the wave is, it could be the ego. The wave is the ego rising, the ego falling. The wave is the birth, the life, the death. But we all go back to the same place. And I just remember feeling such a deep sense of connection to him while I was at the lake. He's not there with me physically, but my ability to be with my emotions, to think of him in a positive light, help me process my emotions, to understand my emotions, but to be really present, to not spiral downwards in a sense that I might have been able to could have, but to just be able to work with everything that was surfacing in a really strong and emotional way. So it was like that kind of switch of, there was this experience that happened to me, but this experience ultimately was like the catalyst in a way for me to then notice that there was something there to give back to. So this practice of meditation that I felt so skeptical about, so doubtful of, was ultimately working with me and for me the whole time. And I know stress is something that there's no shortage of. There's no shortage of suffering within the world right now, just because with all the things and uncertainty in life, there's always things happening. Things happen that you don't want happening. Things you do want happening don't happen. And it's our ability to deal with these things that allows us to live a life where we do not become a victim of our past. So I guess that's just a bit of a spiel and a bit of a ramble that I kind of just went on. But um, where I want to take this whole thing is now into the movement aspect of meditation. So those of you that might live downtown, or if you've ever been to Toronto, if you've ever been to a core of a city, Manhattan, or even if you just go to Square One and go to the mall, a lot of people don't walk to walk. A lot of people walk to go from point A to point B as fast as they can with blinders on, just being very oblivious of their surroundings. So it's a very, in my mind, it's very absent-minded. It's a very disconnected walk because you're just zooming past people, and once again, it's not that you're gonna, hi everybody, hi, just walking past you. It's not that, but it's about being able to at least feel the experience of what you're doing a bit more fully. So our walking meditation today is going to be, I'll explain how the activity goes, and then I'll probably ask some of us to just roll up the mats and have them a bit closer to the wall. um, so whereas with the seated meditation, the anchor that we were using to keep us here was the breath. Every time we slipped away, we came back to our inhales and exhales, and we tried our best to develop the concentration of staying with that inhale and exhale pattern. With a walking meditation, we're trying to now develop a bit more of an anchor around the sensation of walking. So, whether you know it or not, walking requires a lot of strength and stability within your body. There are hundreds of muscles that are working in your body to just keep you upright, to keep you from falling as you shift weight from one leg to the next leg, and to just keep that motion going. So, the purpose of our walking meditation here will be to build that sense of awareness to something that we do every day, but something that we probably don't do with the full awareness that we could bring into it. Now, during one of my during my last Vipassana, my silent meditation retreat, I met a gentleman there who this guy was really cool, very weird though, but he all throughout the 90s and early 2000s, every year he would go to Burma and just go and told him and he made the joke of I wish I saw more of Burma because every year that he would go right from the airport to the Buddhist monastery. Go spend a week in the Buddhist monastery, go do his meditation, and then go right back onto the airplane and come back to Canada. And he's like, I wish I saw more of the country. I just never did. They their retreats are 1 hour seated, 1 hour walking. So throughout the day, you sit, you walk, you sit, you walk, you sit, you walk. And there's a very particular style to walking meditation. It almost looks like somebody's been put on slow motion and you're just watching a person like walk very slowly. And somebody had made a comment to him of like, "Oh, we saw that you were walking very slowly." And he goes, "No, that was very fast walking for me." So he tried to like picture it out. He goes, "So maybe from like this wall here to that set of blinders there." It's like that distance when I was practicing honestly with my walking meditation, that would take me 1 hour to walk of going from this wall here to that wall there or that little set there. 1 hour to walk. And in that hour, sorry for those of you attending online, think about maybe like 25 feet of walking distance. So this whole process of walking meditation, it's different than like a mindful walk in nature. Still practice a walking meditation, but it's one thing to be, present with the sounds, the smells, the environment around you. And then there's another dimension of having the awareness being brought into you. So one is from the outside in. When you're mindful, it's more about receiving the world from the outside in, all the senses, all the movements. But here with the walking meditation, we're developing that sense of awareness from the inside out. So I'll try to demonstrate here in front of us just the very basics of what could be deemed as a walking meditation. And when we do end up practicing, those of you that wish to go outside, by all means, you can either practice right out here in this little foyer or like in the space right outside. It'll give you a little bit more cover. Somebody wants to go outside in the front and do that. Just want you to be mindful of any of the snow because I forgot to shovel it this morning. And then those of us that wish to walk in here, we'll just have the mats rolled up just so that we have a bit more space. But for the purposes of our meditation and our walking meditation, we'll have, say, about 10 feet. I guess those people that are here in this section, what I'm suggesting, but there might be a better. Now, when it comes to bringing your full sense of awareness into your body, I'm standing, but you might have to like, fully tell yourself and like, embody what it means to say some of these cues during a yoga class, spreading your toes wide, flipping into the ground, feeling strong, feeling stable through your legs and hips, feeling long through your spine, relaxed through your shoulders. Arms can be where they want to be. Maybe they're on your belly, maybe they're behind your back, maybe they're in your pockets. But it's about being able to stand with a sense of we'll be bringing in awareness to each part of the movement. So I'll try to give a few examples of what you could tell yourself as you do it, and then maybe you're able to quiet down the foot, moving right foot, planting right foot. Feel, feel all the toes lifting. as I'm moving, there's a sense of weight shifting into my standing leg. I'm not taking this gigantic step where I'm losing the full connection of my body, but I'm just allowing slow as shifting forward. Our heel starts to lift, the ball starts to lift, the toe starts to lift. And the first minute, couple of minutes, it's gonna be about you trying to find your gait, GAIT, just how you walk, see where you feel your arms are most comfortable for you. And then eventually after you walk, say 10 steps, or it might be less, stop, stopping. Once again, you're fully present with the fact that your movement has stopped. And you feel some energy waiting to carry you forward, but you're stopping with intention. Maybe you're just trying to survey the area around you. You don't have to look around, but just being aware of your surroundings. And then to go to the opposite side, to go back. Again, shifting, lifting, moving. Like I said, the anchor is going to be more about your body, it's the sensations within the body. So the shifting, the muscles are turning on, the feeling of the ground against your feet. Take off the socks, and you can put the socks on, feel free to do that. You might be able to match your. Don't want you to overwhelm yourself with all sorts of different things of, how does it feel to hear my foot touch down or all these kind of things. Working with the most simplest method here, which is just the body moving. So being able to be present with the body as it moves. And then the hope is like these are things that we can practice, as we try to develop this as a mindfulness practice. So it's going to be definitely a very long walk around the block if you do choose to practice this. But even if you go for your typical morning walk, if that's what you do, maybe for 5 minutes, doesn't have to be distance, maybe just time. You can just go in a linear line, right? Like you can play follow the leader and just have everybody doing mindful walking behind one another. But it might just be for 5 minutes, you slow things down, you just walk to walk. Like when you walk around the block, and those of you that you do your evening walks, your morning walks, some of us have just one path that we go on. So we know where the path starts and we know where the path ends, and we know when we get there, we'll get there. But some of us, when we go on autopilot, and a lot of that usually happens, you got your headphones in, listening to a podcast, listening to music, we just go on autopilot, right? We lose a sense of mindfulness and we end up becoming little machines that just move. So the hope here is that it's less about the mechanics of walking and more about the mindfulness of walking here. So this is something that you can definitely practice on your own. Could be during like the middle of your workday, instead of shaking out your legs, sure, shake out your legs, but maybe you add in 2, 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes of mindful walking, of walking meditation. And we've done this before where we did a half session of walking meditation and then we sat to meditate as we sit. And for most people, the benefit afterwards was that the seated meditation felt a lot more easier to get into, and the body was a lot more accommodating to work with. So it's also just about this slow, mindful movement allows us to, once again, let that baggage go out of the body and keep our sense of awareness within the body. So with that in mind, it is about 10:30, so we do have about 20 or so minutes to practice this. Those of you that do wish to practice outside, if you can be back in by like 10:55, that is. Oh, you're not going out? Yeah, you're not building much heat. No. So that's totally fine. We can definitely practice inside. Those of us with mats in the middle here, we'll just roll them up or just have them folded so that they can come slightly closer to the wall. For the purposes of this, would you guys want the lights on? Are you still okay with the lights as they are? Okay. Um, just please be mindful if you're wearing socks, the hardwood floor, all that kind of fun stuff. Um, feel free to go. All the way down here, there's a wall. We have this area here, this area here. Those of us indoors, I'll just enunciate the steps for the first little bit. I'll have to follow right foot. Keep saying it for long, maybe just a minute or so. This allows you to. Before we begin the movement portion here, take a few moments to stand. Just stand as you are here. Bring that sense of awareness into your body. Feel a sense of strength and stability through your legs, through your hips, a sense of length through your spine, allowing for your shoulders to be soft, your arms to be where they feel most comfortable being. And then maybe just taking a few breaths to center your attention into your body. So you might be telling yourself at this moment, standing, standing, standing. And for anybody that's left-handed or left-footed, I apologize because I will just be starting with right foot. So with that in mind, lifting right foot, feeling the heel lift, the ball lift, moving right foot, you feel your weight shift, lowering, planting right foot, heel, ball, toe, shifting forward as you start to lift your left foot, move your left foot, plant your left foot. And then just continuing here, shifting, lifting, moving, lowering, shifting, lifting, moving, planting. And then you choose how far you go. If you do end up crossing paths with people, no problem. Just another practice of mindfulness there. And then eventually, we'll continue to take a couple of more steps here. And then we'll take a moment to stop. Bring our feet together as we can tell ourselves now, stopping, stopping, standing, standing, and then mindfully here, turning, pivoting your foot, turning, turning. We turn 180 degrees. We once again stop, we stand, we check in, and then we continue to move at our own pace, lifting, moving, planting, shifting. Then allow yourself to work at your own pace here, keeping your breath smooth, soft, steady. No need to rush the movement. Allow yourself to feel each part of this movement. And once again, this is one of those practices where thoughts will come up. Your mind may wander. Why am I walking so slow? Is this even going to work? But once again, we just try our best to give more importance to the practice of feeling this body moving, of feeling these sensations surfacing. And we just continue to allow ourselves to be. No need to rush, but as you finish up this last pacing of your steps, you can gently make your way back onto your seat. Again, if anybody needs to use the bathroom or anything of that sort, we'll take the next 5 to 10 minutes to just welcome a little break. Oh, you got a cushion. Want me to turn up the heat? Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Of course. Yeah, yeah.
Mine got this popped on one side and this one that's supposed to be on the other. You know what? If I focus, I just I have to put my side. Right. Yeah. Enjoy it. It's fine. You did make coffee. Yep.
All right. Yeah. The three men over there, warm blooded, you know? Right, we can get started. We can continue this morning here. So how was that? That was a bit different. Probably not used to walking like that, right? I think like one of the pictures to paint from an experience like that is maybe just how unpresent we are with some of the things we do every day. So this was just a very mundane thing, one step after the other, walking 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. But it might have felt very different than all your other walks that you've ever done. Physically, you might have noticed just how much work the body actually does when you do walk. Things we don't even think about, right? Shifting weight from one leg to the other. We just think we're humans, right? We're made to walk, that walking is this easy thing that we're all able to do. But when you slow down that action to really break it down into the muscular movement, the skeletal system as it shifts in space from one foot into the next, it maybe makes you become a bit more grateful. That's one thing that you can maybe think of is think of all the people that may have difficulty walking on 2 feet. They use canes, they use crutches, they use walkers, they have to be in a wheelchair, they can't walk. And so you appreciate this body of yours that is able to stabilize itself. Like I said, it takes hundreds of muscles and different parts of your body to come together, parts of your brain to figure out how to move in space, to do this very simple thing that we take for granted. So the intention of the walking meditation was to build a sense of appreciation for the body, but also to, clear the mind in a different way. The Buddha had outlined four different modes of meditation, four different postures for meditation. Two of them we've practiced. Actually, three of them we've basically practiced. Seated, which was what we started the practice with. Standing, which we did at a certain point in time here, and then moving. And moving's not just in the sense of walking, like any form of movement that you do. So if I wish to like try to, I don't know why house chores seem to be like an easy example for me to pivot this into. But think about when you do the dishes. Some of us just do the dishes to like, all this grime, got to get it off. Or sometimes the jokes I make is, it was the husband's turn to do the dishes this time. He's not doing them. Or like, when you're vacuuming, you're just like, oh, it's so dirty, just got to get it over and done with. And instead, you could just accept the fact that whether or not somebody did them or not, you're doing them now. And if you're going to do them, do it being fully present there in the moment. It's still might be a miserable thing to have to do the chores and all that kind of stuff, but at least from the inside out, you can develop a little bit more appreciation for something that you do, maybe weekly, daily, all these kind of things. But just you're shifting your perspective from instead of resisting something you might resist, like doing the dishes, vacuuming, chores, you're now able to slow things down and have a little bit more appreciation. And then just in the sense of the walking sort of thing, something you take for granted that you do every day. You might do the same walk around the block. You might do the same walk to work or from work and all that kind of stuff. But you're able to, keep the mind within the body. It's not that you're drifting away into a thought of, okay, I just got to get there, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do that, and then you've planned the next 10 things that you have in your day. But that just for the moment that you're walking, you're able to walk to walk. And then when it comes to the standing part, think about when you stand at line, say at the bank, at Tim Hortons, wherever, and you just dread the line because it's just so slow moving. This person in front of you taking forever to order, taking forever to prepare the order. Could be at a red light. Could be at a red light and you're just, waiting for the light to turn. These are all just opportunities for you to pause, to take a step inward, and to just be. Any red light that you come across, just an opportunity to take 3 mindful breaths. Just to be present with your body. Okay, here I'm seated, holding the steering wheel, holding, relaxing. And then the green light comes and you're back on to the track of things. But At least you're not just stuck waiting, right? You're not just waiting around, you're just being there. You're being here and now. So I'm hoping that experience was a little bit interesting, a little bit different, a little bit insightful. This will now lead into our next form of meditation, which is your body scan. So this is the one meditation where I would prefer you to lay down and lie down and find space. Just gotta mention once again, no napping, please. It's just there's gonna be one person. I don't mind if it happens. I'll be sure to not like startle you out of sleep. Now, just before we do lie down, let me just explain a little bit of what the body scan is, why we're doing it, what the intention is. So, the body scan is a way for us to reduce the effects of stress within the body and mind. So if we think of stress being a weight that we carry, some of that weight might be carried in the body, physical stress of an increased workload. There's positive stress as well, like lifting weights and you're dealing with the stress on your back from a squat or lifting something off the ground. But then there's also, say, like the negative type of stress where you're inheriting bad thoughts or you're holding on to heavy thoughts that you haven't been able to let go. So our body scan is an ability here to benefit from relaxation and create a sense of comfort in the body. And these things can be measured. I don't have like the tools to measure, but things like reducing your heart rate, that is a measurable thing that a body scan can promote. It can lower the symptoms of anxiety and stress, such as like tension in the muscles or headaches and migraines. Um, what it allows us to do is to focus on the body. A lot of time, these external experiences like stress and anxiety shift your attention out of your body and into your mind. And this mind wants to be anywhere but here, so it'll drift forward, it'll go backwards, but it has a difficult time being present right here. So our body scan becomes an opportunity, a tool to keep the mind within the body, to ground it down, to relax it, to calm it down. And in doing so, what we ultimately hope to achieve is a balanced nervous system. A lot of us have a heightened nervous system, and so we end up being very reactive to things, and we end up storing some of those things that we react to within the body. So by regulating our nervous system, we're telling our body that it's safe to let things go. It's also safe to feel things within your body. Like I said, we store and accumulate a lot of tension within the hips, but depending on, a traumatic experience within your life, that may be stored in a certain area of your body. Could be around the heart. Physical injuries and traumas in the body could be stored in the joints or in the area of the injury itself. Um, we store a lot of stress and tension and anxiety through the mind as well. So by practicing this body scan, we're hoping to visualize a body and a mind that is free from its pain and suffering, a body that's able to bring in a deeper sense of relaxation, a deeper sense of ease. And so we'll be practicing lying down, as mentioned. I will be guiding through this whole experience. So there will be areas of your body that we come to that may become a bit difficult to feel. We are trying to develop a sense of sensitivity in this particular practice. So I'll, for example, tell you to bring your awareness to the fingertips of your left hand. And then we end up doing this. You're sensitive because you're aware of the movement, but at the same time of trying to develop that sense of awareness without moving the area of the body. Certain parts of your body you're able to sense a lot more clearly than others. Common example is the back body. Back body for a lot of people is difficult to feel fully because you don't see it on a day-to-day basis. Unless you look in the mirror and you look behind, you're not really seeing your back body the same way you would see your hand. And you probably don't use it to the same degree as all the little fine motor movements that happen in your hand. So if at any point during the body scan meditation, you come across an area that is a bit hazy, a bit cloudy, it's not that you're doing something wrong or that your mind's not sharp enough. That's just what you got to work with. Certain parts of your body will feel, other parts of your body may not feel. Our job is to not get hooked on any area of the body in particular. We are working from one area of our body to the next. We'll be starting at the ground towards the feet as we then make our way towards the head. And if we spend a few breaths at a certain place and we're not feeling a whole lot, once again, no need to panic, no need to become disappointed. Just stay with your breath. Understand that nothing is still something for you to work with. Nothingness gives you an opportunity to check your expectations. If you were feeling, say, a good sensation, a good connection to your hand, but then you go up to your upper arm and you feel nothing, do you view that as a failure? Do you view that as you not practicing properly? Or is that just going to be a part of your practice today? That you do not anticipate or hope for this area to feel the same as this other area, but that whatever comes up in that particular part of your body is what you'll work with. Um, Certain parts of the body, certain sensations on the body will come with a layer of thought, a layer of emotion. And it's okay to feel those things, especially, like I said, if you've had a traumatic injury, if you're carrying a lot of stress and tension in a particular part of your body, a thought may come up, an emotion may surface, and that may help you to understand why this area feels a certain way. But once again, it's not about getting hooked and caught up in that whole experience. We're not trying to look for anything in particular. We're just seeing what comes up. So if something comes up, cool. If nothing comes up, no worries, still cool. We stay in the body, we keep the mind on the body, and we allow ourselves to find a reset in the body. Don't think I have any other explanations here. No, we're good. So I'll give you guys the first minute or so here. Find this comfortable position on your back. If you need a block for your knees or anything, please bring that. If you wish to have a blanket on top of you, great. Just once again, no napping, but we'll wonderful. So as we prepare ourselves for this body scan here today, let me just once again lay out the expectations of this practice, the intention behind this practice. So our body scan is a mental exercise designed to help us release tension out of the body and mind while cultivating a sense of awareness of our moment to moment experience. During this exercise, you may notice parts of your body that surface with physical sensation. So that sensation may be an itch, a tingle, maybe even a little bit of pain or discomfort, depending on the tension you carry. a sense of lightness or heaviness in certain parts of your body, a sensation of warmth or coolness. And some parts of the body may feel cloudy, hazy, feel very little or nothing. Some of these sensations may surface with a layer of thought or emotion. And as mentioned, that's okay. As these thoughts come and go, avoiding the urge to judge what you are thinking or feeling, but just keeping your sense of awareness, your mind within your body, finding those qualities of relief and inner peace. So before we begin this body scan, just taking a few more moments here to find a little bit more stillness, a little bit more softness. And just thanking your body for all it's been able to do for you today. To sit, to move, to stand. As we soften into our body, let us settle into our mind, noticing the waves of thoughts, emotions, physical sensations as they come and go on the surface of your mind. No need to stop these thoughts. No need to judge these emotions. No need to figure out the sensations. Just acknowledging them, accepting them, and trying to let them be. Allowing yourself to be in the moment with all that comes up and all that passes by. It's like you're watching a gentle stream on the edge of a riverbank. This stream of your thoughts, emotions, and sensations. We're not here to get ourselves wet and dip our toes into this stream. We're just here to notice the stream as it passes on by. So we'll take just a few more moments here as we shift our attention towards our breath. Once again, becoming aware of our breathing. Finding a normal breath, a natural breath. As you bring your focus either towards the tip of your nose or down towards your abdomen and belly. Let us take a few breaths. Just as with any other meditation practice, at times your mind may wander. A cloud may come in front of your bright sun. Don't be discouraged when this happens. Recognize the distraction Acknowledge wherever your mind may have wandered to, and simply come back to your breath and body. So now let us gently begin to withdraw awareness away from the breath as we shift it into the body. As you do move through various areas of your body, you may come across areas that are tight or tense. If you can allow these areas to soften, let it happen. And if you can't, just let the sensation be as it ripples away in whichever direction it needs to go. And this applies not only to physical sensation like itches and tingles, but it may also apply to any pleasant or unpleasant emotions and thoughts that come up. So let us begin by bringing awareness to the bottom of our left foot. Taking a moment to notice what might be felt here. Maybe you feel the contact of your left heel against the ground. Maybe you feel the touch of your sock against your skin. See if you can feel into your toes, the top of your left foot, traveling back towards your Achilles and your left ankle. Shifting your awareness up your lower left leg, feeling into the muscle of your calf, feeling into the front of your shin. Maybe you feel a sense of tension, maybe lightness. See where you can relax your muscles. See how you can loosen your joints. Building a connection into your left knee. Letting awareness travel from your left knee towards your upper left leg. Feeling the front of your thigh, the back of your thigh. And just extending that sense of awareness up towards your left hip. Maybe you take a moment here to bring in a little bit more softness into the left leg, a little bit more stillness into your thigh. And then we'll slowly withdraw away from the left thigh, down towards the left foot as we shift our awareness over towards the bottom of our right foot. Once again, just noticing where you feel contact, what you may feel. The heel of your right foot, the sock on your right foot, the blanket over top of your right foot. Sensing the heel, the ball, the sole and toes of your right foot. You might feel a little bit of cold around your right foot. And once again, slowly moving up towards your lower right leg. The shin, the calf, and how they connect towards your right knee. Allowing awareness to continue traveling up into the right thigh, feeling the muscles on the front, the back, your quads, your hamstrings, and feeling the connection of your right thigh into your right hip. Now, before we continue up our body, maybe taking a few deep breaths here to be fully present with your legs, observing how they may feel in this moment of stillness and softness, and allowing yourself to let go of anything additional, something that you may be holding on to within your lower body, something physical, mental, emotional. As our body continues to soften, we must keep the mind sharp. So let us slowly begin to withdraw awareness away from our legs and hips as we begin to shift this sense of awareness into the pelvic region of our lower body. So this pelvic region towards the base of our spine. Taking a moment to feel and acknowledge this area of your body, which is home to your systems of elimination and reproduction. And just allowing yourself to be mindful to any sensation, thought, or emotion that may arise in this area of your body. Not judging, simply noticing, allowing yourself to feel fully. Let us shift a little bit higher as we travel into our abdomen and into the belly. this area of our body which is home to our digestion and absorption systems. Allow yourself to feel into your gut and the inner workings of your body. Your stomach, your liver, your spleen, kidneys, intestines. These organs of your body that work effortlessly and tirelessly for you day and night. At this particular moment, there is nothing they need to do for you. So, with a sense of gratitude, can you allow these areas of your body to soften and rest themselves? Now, from our chest, from our belly, let us shift around towards our tailbone, beginning to sense the area around your lower back. And from the lower back, traveling up the spine, noticing the area around your mid back, your upper back. And if you notice any areas of tension and tightness, allow them to soften if you can, and letting be whatever cannot soften. You might just build a deeper connection of your back body against your mat, against the ground. Now, from the back, let us shift around towards the chest, bringing your attention into the space around your heart and lungs. And as you feel into your rib cage and sternum, can you remain present with the sensation of your heart beating and your lungs breathing? This natural, soft rhythm within your body. And just notice if there's any layer of thought or emotion that surfaces within this area around your heart and lungs. You are not here to judge these thoughts, just simply noticing, acknowledging, letting be. Now we can begin to gently withdraw attention away from the chest and back and shift our awareness into the fingertips of our left hand. feeling into your fingers, your palm, the back of your left hand, and how it connects into your left wrist. You may feel a sense of tingling, pulsing, a gentle vibration, a sense of warmth, a sense of cold, a sense of lightness, heaviness. Once again, you may feel little to nothing. Building a connection from your left wrist into your left forearm, left forearm into your left elbow, left elbow up to your upper left arm, feeling the connection of your upper left arm into your left shoulder. And you may just take a moment here, once again, with your breath and body, to feel that connection of energy from the fingertips of your left hand all the way up to the shoulder of your left arm. Now let us slowly withdraw away from the left arm as we begin to shift our attention into the fingertips of our right hand. We are not trying to feel the same thing, nor are we seeking the same feelings. Just allowing yourself to notice how this side feels today. Noticing fingers of your right hand, the palm of your right hand, the top of your right hand, and the connection into your right wrist. From your right wrist, slowly moving up towards the forearm, the elbow, your upper right arm, and the connection all the way up into your right shoulder. And before we continue higher up, once again, deepening this connection to your body. Maybe you're able to extend your awareness from just one arm to both arms, from both arms, maybe into your torso, feeling the chest, the belly, the back body. And if you're curious enough, maybe even extending that sense of awareness back down into your lower body, the hips, the pelvis, the upper legs, the knees, the calves, the shins, ankles, feet. If it's too much to build a connection through this entire body that we've worked on thus far, just allowing yourself to bring in that sense of softness and stillness as you keep your attention within your body. Just taking a few more breaths here before we continue upwards. Now, from the tops of our shoulders, let us begin to shift awareness into the area around our neck and throat. This area of our body, which may carry some strong thoughts, emotions, and sensations. This area of our body, which allows us to express our truth, to express ourselves. Just taking a moment here and notice if you feel any particular sensation, thought, or emotion. As we begin to bring awareness into our head, let us begin with the area around our jaw. Noticing your teeth, relaxing your tongue, your mouth, your lips. Feeling into the area around your cheeks, the area around your nose, the nasal passages, the nostrils, the area around your ears, the area around your eyes, softening your eyelids, relaxing your eyebrows, relaxing the muscles around your eyes. Feeling the area around your temples, your forehead, feeling the area towards the top of your head, the sides of your head, the back of your head. And maybe even allowing yourself to feel inside of your head, keeping an open mind as you observe sensations without judgment. And now, let us see if we can expand this sense of cultivated awareness to the entire body from head to toe. Connecting from the top of your head as you begin to soften the areas as you travel down towards your eyes, your ears, your nose, your cheeks, your jaw. Connecting down through the neck, the throat, the shoulders, the upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers. Feeling that connection down through your chest, the heart space, the lungs, down into the belly, your abdomen. Feeling the connection throughout your back body, your upper back, your mid back, your lower back. That connection within your hips, your pelvis, this area of your body which connects upper to lower. Continuing downwards towards your thighs, your knees, your lower legs, your ankles, your feet, all the way to your toes. Allow yourself to feel this whole body of yours with its countless physical sensations, thoughts, and emotions. Being present to whatever is being felt, not thinking of it as good or bad, right or wrong, favorable or unfavorable, but just letting it be. As you breathe in, feeling your whole body rising and expanding on an inhalation. As you breathe out, feeling your whole body softening and falling on an exhalation. And just remaining present with your breath as you feel your body in its entirety from head to toe. And over the next 10 or so breaths, I encourage you and ask of you to visualize draining a tub of water and allow for that drain to be located at the base of your feet. And any stress, tension, anxieties that you have felt within your body, allow them to drain out of your body down through the bottom of your feet. Any heaviness through your upper body, any tension within your lower body, any restless thought or emotion, allowing you to let it go through the bottoms of your feet. And as we come to the end of our body scan, let us invite 3 cleansing breaths before we bring some movement in. So taking a slow breath out through your mouth, followed by a deep breath in through your nose, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your mouth as you sigh it out. Once again, a deeper breath in, holding for 10, release. Last time around, letting this be the deepest breath you've taken in all morning. Hold. Let go. Inviting some tiny, gentle movements back into your wrists and ankles, stretching out your fingers, wiggling your toes. Coming back to your senses, bringing your awareness to your body, to the area around you. Just taking a moment to congratulate yourself for listening to your body, for working with your body, for becoming a bit more sensitive to your body. Now, once again, we'll be taking about a 10-minute break. So if you wish to just stay on your back for a couple minutes, do so. If you wish to use the bathroom, feel free to do that. No need to rush to get up. Now, the next part of our practice, I'll just lay it out. 12 to 12:30, we have like a lunch break. Still an opportunity to practice mindful eating. So that is a practice within itself that I can guide you all through. Um, I will be handing out little bowls of rice pudding. It's called kheer. The symbolism of kheer is it was the Buddha's first meal after he first attempted to reach enlightenment through asceticism, which is practices of like self mortification, of starving yourself, and all that kind of stuff. And he had realized that he wasn't attaining enlightenment through these kind of mortification practices. So he had sat under a tree, and this lady on a yearly basis would make a bowl of kheer, rice pudding, and offer it as a blessing to the tree in hopes of having a baby boy. And on this one day where she went to provide him with or provide the tree with this bowl of kheer, of rice pudding, lo and behold, the Buddha happened to be sitting underneath the tree. And he did not refuse this lady's gift of kheer because this was an offering, a blessing. And so it just times out, I guess. It works well that our first meal or our first opportunity to eat will also be a bowl of kheer. So take your time. I'll have those bowls ready over by the bar there. I did notice that some other people did bring some food as well. So take your little picking of whatever it is, but just avoid eating immediately. And then I'll guide you through the practice. And then by all means, try your best to eat as mindfully as you can. So we'll get started in just about 10 minutes. Once again. It's okay. I'll just get everybody seated. I just want to explain a little bit of mindful eating, and we still have some time to kill. So we've already started to eat maybe unmindfully, so it's okay. It's too late. It's all good. It's all good. Whether we started eating or not, I hope we're enjoying what we're eating. Um, the sense of the sense behind mindful eating is to bring once again just about anything that we've practiced today has been about developing sensitivity, about bringing a little bit more of our sense of awareness into anything that we do, from our seated meditation to our walking meditation to the body scan meditation, and now to something that we do every day, which is eating. We don't really think about that whole process of eating other than food comes in and food goes out. That's about the relationship most of us have with food. It's fuel. It's fuel for this body of ours. It helps us move. But we can add layers of mindfulness into something we do every day. So this food, this bowl of kheer was made by my mom, right? My loving mother made this for everybody here. And we might not think of just the act of love that gets put into food, but why is it that home cooked meals sometimes taste better than restaurants? It's because there's an act of love that gets put into the food, and we can taste that love. It's an intangible ingredient that you might not be able to buy in a store. And so when we do that, we can even go one step before all that. Before my mom made the food, she would have had to source the ingredients. Now, yes, I guess in this part of the world, if we're buying a bag of milk or if we're buying rice, it comes pre-packaged and all that kind of stuff. But at some point before all the packaging, there was probably a cow that was milked for this milk. And this milk and this kheer might have come from one particular cow. Has no face, has no name, but there is a connection. The rice that was put into this pudding, once again, we don't know where exactly the field of rice was or who the farmer was that harvested that rice, but there is that sense of connection that within this bowl could be a grain of rice that came from across the world. Could have been from India, could have been from wherever. Similarly, the milk that got put in here might have been from who knows where. And it's just that sense of taking a step back, that although we're eating something right here, right now, that's in front of us, it didn't just come from nothing. right? It came from something, and whether that something is something that we've been able to see and name, like Jerry the cow that was milked, who knows? But it's whether it's nameless or named, whether it's faceless or it has a face, it's just about, once again, developing that sense of appreciation, that sense of gratitude, that we can be thankful for something like this, that something can come from across the world but still be put onto or into our hands. When it comes to just the act of eating, I typically like to joke that the two bites you remember the most are the first bite and the last bite. The first bite because it was so good, the last bite because you're like, oh no, there's no more bite. And so you typically forget all the other bites in between the first and the last. And so what mindful eating gives us the opportunity to do is to treat each bite as if it were the first bite. It's a hard thing to do to, you know, I tried playing this experiment out with one of my friends where we ordered dinner and we set it up and we ate it as mindfully as we could. Challenge was, by the time we finished, our hot food became somewhat lukewarm and almost cold. But if I just look at this bowl here, I've already brought in that sense of gratitude, that sense of appreciation of where this bowl may have come from. It came from my mother who made it yesterday. But before that, it came from this cow, from this rice field, and everything has been put into this bowl. But now I can start looking at the bowl. It's got this white-ish texture, and off-white, maybe a little bit of yellow, depending on the angle. I can see that there's the grains of rice in it. I can see that there's a bit of a droopiness to the texture of it. It's not, smooth like milk is, but there's a bit of that pudding, that little bit of thickness, that viscosity to it. Okay, so I can start to engage. I've started to engage my eyes. I'm starting to engage my eyes by looking at the texture of it, by looking at the color of it. Okay, so I can go a bit closer, start to smell it. Smells sort of like milk, but it also has some other fragrances in it. A little bit of sugar, a little bit of sweetness. Okay, I start to lift it up. And before I just shovel everything in my mouth, maybe I just get it to touch my lips. Okay, what's the temperature? It's got not as cold as I would have liked it to be, but it's okay. It's still there. Okay, got a little bit of sweetness on the lip. Maybe I do even one more. See how it plays on the tongue, on the palate of my tongue, on the roof of my mouth. And then as I start to maybe chew, once again, does it break down easily? Does it require a lot of effort? Where in my mouth am I chewing? A lot of us don't realize, but we have a dominant side to the mouth that we chew on. And that's just something to think about as well. When you're eating, does food always go into this one area of your mouth that does most of the work? Or do you mix it around? Do you allow your whole mouth to appreciate the food, not just this one little corner? And then, yes, once you swallow it, is there an aftertaste? Is there a lasting feeling? Does it leave you wanting for more? And then it's just about kind of like repeating that whole process. Yes, you have a good idea of what the second bite will be, what the third bite will be, what all the other bites will be. But it's just about, once again, tuning your senses into the experience. When it comes to like fruit, I see an orange there or something. Like just being fully present with peeling the orange. It's a satisfying feeling, at least for me. Try to peel without having the just all one singular peel. Um, Feeling the texture of fruit in your hands, feeling the tactile sensation of a sandwich, of nuts, of anything that you eat. And then, yeah, like I said, when I tried it with one of my friends, it took like 75 minutes to eat like a bowl of soup, like and all of its things, right? But what made me laugh was thinking about doing an experience like that, like say during a dinner rush in a restaurant. Go into a restaurant where like some restaurants nowadays, like you're only allowed to be there for like 75 minutes for your reservation, and then you got to go, you got to leave. But imagine just being there at the restaurant, all the people around you eating at their own pace, and here you are just like staring at the food, just like fully immersed in the experience. All the sound is around you, all this, that, and the other, but here you are just Okay. And then you go again. What I think this like relates to is there is a part of our brain that is extremely primitive. If we think a few million years ago when we were in like animal clothes, I guess, and roaming free, when we had a meal in front of us that we might have killed, right? Whatever it is, we had to eat with a sense of urgency because you don't know if what was rustling in the bush was, say, an animal about to attack you, whether it was someone else about to kill you for your food, or what. So we were not afforded the luxury or the privilege, say back in the day, long, long, long ago, back in the day, to be able to really enjoy and be mindful with the food. It's a privilege, right? I wouldn't expect someone that's starving to, you know, put away their sense of starvation and just be mindfully eating. But it's also just the ability to appreciate this time right here, right now, to be a very special time where we're afforded a luxury of being able to be fully present with the food, not worried about eating for the sake of survival, because a lot of us have more than enough food in our fridge, right? And we typically go to the fridge every half hour, we look at it, we open it, we're somehow waiting for something new to pop up in it, and then we close it, we walk away, we come back. But it's here just this opportunity of, okay, the food is here. Yes, I'm a bit hungry, but I understand that this hunger is not going to kill me. I can stay with the experience of the food. I can stay with my mind as I eat and appreciate the full meal. And in doing so, you might realize that, especially in certain meals, you might not need to eat as much to feel full. Because a lot of times, especially if we're multitasking, we're watching TV and we're eating, we're distracted on our phone and we're eating, we're not fully there present with the food in front of us. And by being half there, we sometimes ignore signals that say that what you've ate is probably enough. You don't have to eat more, but we just end up shoveling. And then you get a bellyache or you feel very bloated and heavy after. So, once again, this is just one of those practices where you can try, you know, don't bring your phone to the dinner table, put your phone down, take only one bite at a time. Like the formal practices would be you take your bite, put your utensil down, wait for the food to get processed completely, and then pick it up again. Because the machine in your mind works so fast that before the food is even swallowed, you have a tendency to go for another bite. So that incentive of having that one extra step to take of, okay, I'm going to put down my spoon so that I would be able to see myself moving faster than I'd want myself to, and I can pause. And then if you're eating with people, yeah, no problem making small talk, but doing so without food in your mouth. A lot of times we also talk with food in our mouths. Oh, food's so good. Yes, of course it is, but you don't need to tell everybody all the time, right? So it's any of these small little techniques that you can do, and it might just be for a snack. Maybe dinner we don't do it, or maybe once a week at your household you choose to mindfully eat your dinner. But maybe on a day-to-day basis, it could just be one snack. You peel your orange, you eat, you sit with that orange, you appreciate the fact that an orange, something that may not be native to, do we have orange trees here? Help me understand. No, right? So being appreciative for the fact that something that wasn't here, native to our Canadian roots and our Canadian agricultural landscape, is somehow in your hand and ready for you to eat. It's just these very small things of being able to sense, bring in a sense of gratitude, a sense of appreciation, and that should help you enjoy what you're eating that much more. So with that, these little instructions in mind, like continue to eat, continue to enjoy yourselves. We still have another 15 or so minutes. If you wish to share food, share food. There is additional food, like please help yourself. There are some veggies. I see hummus. I see some other things as well. Uh, Angela baked some banana bread, so you can get some banana bread if you want. If you want more kheer, there is probably like still a half of a vat full of kheer there. If you want to take some home or something, let me know. Otherwise, next 15 minutes are still yours. So continue to eat, continue to enjoy. I'm okay for now. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Those of you attending the live stream, we still have another, say, 15 or so minutes. If you are able to practice mindful eating, that'd be lovely. Otherwise, just enjoy yourselves, and we'll be back in about by around 12:30. A big slice for you. She is. I try to encourage it.